Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Daily English Learn. I'm Eva, and I'm here with Mark today. Mark, are you ready to help our learners fix some really common mistakes they're making every single morning?
Absolutely, Eva. And you know what? Most English learners don't even realize they're making these mistakes. They think they're speaking correctly, but native speakers can tell something sounds a little off.
Exactly. So today, we're going to talk about 5 morning English mistakes that almost every beginner and intermediate learner makes when they try to describe their daily routine. And here's the thing, these aren't grammar mistakes from textbooks. These are real-life speaking mistakes that happen when you're trying to sound natural, but you accidentally use the wrong verb, the wrong preposition, or the wrong phrase completely.
By the end of this lesson, you'll know exactly how to fix these mistakes, and you'll sound so much more confident and natural when you talk about your morning in English.
That's right. And we're also going to teach you some really useful alternative phrases that native speakers actually use in everyday conversation. Because let's be honest, sometimes textbooks teach us one way to say something, but in real life, people say it completely differently. So if you want to improve your spoken English and stop sounding like a textbook, stay with us until the end.
Before we jump in, please remember to subscribe to Daily English Learn if you haven't already. We create lessons like this every week to help you speak English with confidence. And if you find this lesson helpful, give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are also learning English. It really helps us reach more learners like you.
All right, Mark, let's start with mistake number 1. This is something I hear all the time from students, and it sounds so unnatural to native speakers.
Okay, so mistake number one is when learners say, I wake up from my bed. Now, Eva, can you explain why this sounds wrong?
Yes, absolutely. So the problem here is the preposition. When you wake up, you don't wake up from your bed. You just wake up. That's it. You can say, I wake up at 7 o'clock, or I wake up early, or I wake up late, but you never say from my bed, because waking up is something that happens to your body and your mind, not something you do from a location.
Exactly. Now, if you want to talk about leaving your bed, that's a different action. We say, get out of bed. So you can say, I wake up at 7 and then I get out of bed at 7:15. Notice the difference? Wake up is about opening your eyes and becoming conscious. Get out of bed is about physically leaving the bed and standing up. These are two separate actions, and you need two different phrases.
Right. So let me give you some correct examples. I usually wake up when my alarm rings. I always wake up before my husband. I wake up naturally without an alarm. And then, after I wake up, I stay in bed for 5 more minutes and then I get out of bed. Can you hear how natural that sounds, Mark?
Yes, it's perfect. And here's another example. I wake up at 6, but I don't get out of bed until 6:30 because I like to check my phone first. That's very natural and very common for people to say.
Exactly. So remember, don't say wake up from my bed. Just say I wake up. And if you want to talk about leaving the bed, say I get out of bed. Okay, let's move to mistake number 2.
Mistake number two is a really tricky one, and it's about the bathroom. A lot of learners say, I go to bathroom. Now, Eva, what's wrong with this sentence?
Okay, so the mistake here is missing the article. In English, we always say the bathroom, not just bathroom. So the correct sentence is, I go to the bathroom. Now, this is really important because if you forget the word the, it sounds incomplete and unnatural. Native speakers will always say, I need to go to the bathroom, or I'm going to the bathroom, never just going to bathroom.
That's right. And here's something interesting. We use the because we're talking about a specific bathroom, usually the one in your house or the one nearby. Even if there are two bathrooms in your house, we still say the bathroom in general conversation. For example, excuse me, I need to use the bathroom, or the bathroom is occupied right now.
Exactly. So let me give you some more examples. After I wake up, I go to the bathroom and wash my face. I always go to the bathroom before I leave the house. My brother spends too much time in the bathroom every morning. Notice how we always use the before bathroom.
Yes, and here's another thing. Some learners also say, I go to toilet, and that's also wrong. We say, I go to the toilet if you're using British English, or in American English, we usually just say, I go to the bathroom, or I use the restroom. But you never drop the article. Always say the.
Perfect. So mistake number 2, always say the bathroom, not just bathroom. Okay, Mark, what's mistake number 3?
Mistake number 3 is about getting ready. A lot of learners say, I wear my clothes. Now, Eva, this sounds logical, right? Because wear means to have clothes on your body. But it's actually not the right verb to use when you're talking about the action of putting clothes on in the morning.
That's right. So wear describes the state of having clothes on your body. For example, I wear a suit to work every day, or she always wears black. But when you're talking about the action of putting on clothes, we use a different phrase. We say put on or get dressed. So the correct sentences are I put on my clothes or I get dressed.
Exactly. Let me explain the difference more clearly. Wear is for describing what you have on your body throughout the day. Put on is the action of dressing yourself. So, for example, every morning I put on my jeans and a t-shirt. Then I wear those clothes all day until I get home.
That's a great example, Mark. And here's another one. I usually get dressed after I have breakfast, or I get dressed quickly because I'm always in a hurry. Notice how we use get dressed to talk about the whole process of putting on your clothes?
Yes, and you can also say, I put on my shoes, I put on my jacket, I put on my watch. These are all correct because you're talking about the action. But if someone asks you, what do you wear to work? You would answer, I wear formal clothes or I wear a uniform. You wouldn't say, I put on formal clothes in that situation because the question is asking about your general habit, not the action.
Exactly. So remember, when you're describing your morning routine, don't say I wear my clothes. Say I put on my clothes or I get dressed. Okay, let's talk about mistake number 4.
Mistake number 4 is about leaving your house. Many learners say, I go out from my house. Eva, can you explain why this doesn't sound right?
Yes. So the problem here is using go out from. In English, we have a very simple and natural phrase for this. We just say leave the house or leave home. You don't need to say go out from because it sounds too complicated and a bit awkward. Native speakers will simply say, I leave the house at 8 o'clock, or I leave home every morning at 7:30.
That's right. And you can also say go out, but you don't add from my house at the end. You can say I'm going out or I need to go out, and people will understand that you're leaving your home. For example, I usually go out early in the morning, or I don't like to go out when it's raining.
Exactly. Let me give you some more examples. I leave the house at the same time every day. I always leave home before my wife wakes up. I need to leave the house in 10 minutes. Can you hear how natural and simple these sentences are?
Yes, they're very clear. And here's another useful phrase. If you want to say that you're leaving for a specific place, you can say, I leave for work at 8, or I leave for school at 7:30. This means you're leaving your house to go to work or to go to school.
That's perfect, Mark. So remember, don't say I go out from my house. Just say I leave the house or I leave home or I leave for work. Much simpler and much more natural. All right, let's move to our final mistake, mistake number 5.
Okay, mistake number 5 is about breakfast. And this is a mistake that even intermediate learners make all the time. They say, I eat breakfast, or I drink coffee. Now, Eva, these sentences are grammatically correct, but there's a more natural way to say this that native speakers use much more often.
Yes, exactly. So instead of saying I eat breakfast, native speakers usually say I have breakfast. And instead of saying I drink coffee, we say I have coffee. The verb have is much more common and natural when we're talking about meals and drinks. For example, I have breakfast at 7. I have coffee every morning. I usually have toast and eggs.
That's right. Now, eat and drink are not wrong, but they sound a bit too direct and simple. Have is softer and more natural in everyday conversation. For example, if someone asks you, "What did you have for breakfast?" you would answer, "I had cereal and orange juice." You wouldn't normally say, "I ate cereal and I drank orange juice." It sounds too choppy and unnatural.
Exactly. And here's another example. I usually have a light breakfast, or I don't have breakfast on weekends, or I always have tea in the morning, never coffee. These sentences sound so much more natural with the verb have.
Yes, and you can use have for lunch and dinner too. I'm going to have lunch at 1 o'clock. I had dinner with my family last night. Let's have something to eat. It's such a useful and flexible verb.
Absolutely. So remember, instead of saying I eat breakfast or I drink coffee, try to say I have breakfast and I have coffee. It will make you sound much more like a native speaker. All right, Mark, let's quickly review all 5 mistakes before we finish.
Great idea. So mistake number 1, don't say I wake up from my bed. Just say I wake up. And if you want to talk about leaving the bed, say I get out of bed.
Mistake number 2, always say the bathroom, not just bathroom. For example, I go to the bathroom after I wake up.
Mistake number 3, don't say I wear my clothes when talking about your morning routine. Say I put on my clothes or I get dressed.
Mistake number 4, don't say I go out from my house. Just say I leave the house or I leave home.
And mistake number 5, instead of I eat breakfast or I drink coffee, say I have breakfast and I have coffee. It sounds much more natural.
Perfect. Now, if you want to practice, try describing your morning routine in the comments below and make sure you avoid these 5 mistakes. We'll read your comments and give you feedback if you need it.
Yes, please do. We love hearing from you and helping you improve. And if you found this lesson useful, don't forget to subscribe to Daily English Learn and turn on notifications so you never miss our lessons. We're here to help you speak English with confidence every single day.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.
Goodbye, everyone. See you soon.